What are the challenges that come with their press their press defense? Jesse said you guys don't really play another team in the conference that presses as much as Portland does.
It just keeps you out of rhythm a little bit. It takes a few minutes. When you get stops, you don't have to deal with it so much. So I think the first half we were getting the stops, and so we were just running freely into our offense. It takes some time off the clock. It didn't turn us over. Maybe a couple. We had some of the ones that were just late and we were a little bit flustered. 17 I think we had, so not great, but it just mostly is a time waste. So they take some time off the clock, and then you're trying to run offense. Then you have to try and figure out if it's man or zone. So it creates issue from time to time.
Jen mentioned the fact that you guys are so invested and obviously such a successful season is why this hurts worse. Do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, they always hurt, I feel like. But, we're trying to get our first home top 16 seed, and so I think there's some of that underlying. After last year here in Vegas, there's some of that underlying. It's this great story that Towney goes from going down for the season-ending injury to the player of the year. So there's some of that, and just we're competitors, and we want to win them all. And you don't always do that, but definitely there's some stuff behind it. It's not just let's go beat Portland. We don't hate Portland. There's not a huge rivalry there necessarily. It just, I think it's more the other challenges that I mentioned, and just the desire to be the champs and cut the nets and get the trophies.
How tough was it to walk into the locker room and talk to your girls after that?
It's hard. I'm not very good this year at post-game loss speeches. I don't know how to do it, which is probably a good thing. And this one in particular, there's a lot of tears, of course, and Jesse and Katie, I feel for them. They don't get to do this again, and they wanted it to end differently for both of them, and I know that the rest of the players did, and it's hard to go into that locker room, and you want to say, we needed to keep them out of the paint one more time. We needed to get a defensive rebound on a free throw. We needed to execute this, or, that's not the point this time of year. That'll be the point on Monday or whenever we get back Friday, but it's not the point right now, so it's hard.
Most likely, you guys may not post now. You're talking about it just as a second issue since that was
It's fine. We're in control of our own destiny, and we didn't do enough this year to host if they don't put us in the field to host, and if they do, then we did. And so right now, we would have wanted to win that one more game to kind of seal the deal. And who knows? It's just not in our hands. And you like to keep things in your hands where you can. And so that's the biggest bummer about it. It's not that we can win games. Gonzaga's won plenty of games outside of Spokane, and so we are certainly going to be happy to go wherever we go and get the game plan set away. But the part that bothers me is that it's out of our control.
I can imagine there's so many things going on in your head right now, the game, the emotion. But looking back at the game, what do you feel like the biggest thing is you want your team to learn and to grow on when you do enter the NCAA tournament?
I would say, just basketball-wise, you got to be tough. I think that we lack some toughness tonight in different stretches of the game, and that's when they went on some of their runs offensively. We didn't get in our stance and guard, and we're a good defensive team. They're a really good offensive team, and tonight their offense was better than our defense was. But against teams that are bigger or more athletic or problematic in whatever way, you got to be invested in that moment. You got to give everything you can every moment. You can't just do it for a couple of the moments. It has to be all the moments. The middle of the second quarter that nobody cares about matters. The middle of the third quarter that nobody cares about matters. It's not just the last 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes. There's a bunch of game in between, and you have to be ready to play in those times as well.
How quickly do you guys move on from this and just focus on the NCAA tournament?
I don't know. For me, it's hard. It takes a little bit of time. I think the girls, they know the things that we preach about the process, and the season's not over. We're thankful for that. Next time this happens, it will be the end of our season, and so we want to make sure that we do everything we can to prolong it and just get right. And so you can dwell on it for a little bit because there's nothing yet. Unfortunately, it's not like in conference, if you lose a game, you got another one coming 2 days later. So we have a little bit of time to maybe dwell. I would say we'll just to tinker and adjust and kind of get ourselves right instead of sitting around moping about it.
I know how close this team is. We've gone through so much this year. Katie, not very many losses, but still some adversities. Do you feel like this loss will bring you guys even closer than you are?
I hope so. I mean, it's always a chance. I heard Jen mention something about adversity is what makes you stronger and better, and I believe that to be true. If you don't ever face anything, then you're not at your best. You don't have to overcome, and you don't have to give extra. And I think it's a bummer of a place if you just can go through life never feeling the pain that makes you appreciate the other stuff better. And so I think this team is close. I don't know if it'll bring us closer, but hopefully it'll get us refocused. That's usually what happens after a loss, or what you hope for is you can dwell on it, do the same things, or you can make the adjustments that you're capable of making and move forward. So that's kind of that's the choice that we choose.
Is the fact that it's kind of back-to-back WCC tournaments where you guys don't hold up to your standards that you kind of set for yourselves throughout the year, does that make it sting anymore?
I mean, it stinks. Yeah. I mean, I think it stinks regardless. It stinks every year for that year's seniors. I think that's at this time of year you're thinking about those guys a lot. And this year's team, last year it was different. It was just so different. But you feel for Z and Laura and Chandler, and this year you feel for Katie and Jesse, and also our junior class, who just really is important to what we do. And so I think it always stinks. It's going to sting whether you won 12 in a row and then you lost, or if you lose 2 in a row. It doesn't matter.